everybody, it's Jenny, and today I'm going to be sharing a card using some of the new July products from Missing Stamps, starting off with the Stay Weird stamp set. And we'll just take a closer look at all the images and sentiments. I really enjoy the sentiments in this stamp set. I'm also going to be using the coordinating dies. For my card, I'm also going to be using the EIEIO frame set and placement stencil, as well as this older Magic Stars stencil. So to get started, I'm going to bring in my Misty and go ahead and stamp out one of the images of the girl from the set, as well as these cool glasses. Once I have a nice crisp impression, I'm going to go ahead and remove that from my Misty and then trim it down a little bit, and then go ahead and attach that to my craft mat with some washi tape so that I can color everything in with some Copic markers. And once my images are all colored up, I'm going to go ahead and trim those out using the coordinating dies. I'm going to set those aside and start working on my background, and so I just brought in a super light blue piece of cardstock and I'm trimming that down to 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. I'm going to add another piece of washi just to hold that in place on my craft mat so I can do some stenciling with some distress oxides. And I'm just going to be using this stripes stencil and attaching that down with some more washi as well so that it doesn't move. For my colors, I'm going to start with some Evergreen Belle. Then I'm going to add some shading at the top and bottom with some pine needles. Next, I'm just going to clean up a little and then shift my stencil over so I can add some blue shading with some tumbled glass. Next, I'm going to use a stitched rectangle die to go ahead and trim out my card panel. And my inspiration for this card was to recreate a magical magazine cover. So I'm going to make a header from some red letters, and I'm going to spell out "Miss You" using the EIEIO frame die and placement stencil. I decided to add some shading to my letters, so I'm just going to use a piece of washi on the back of the stencil and then hold all the letters in place. And then I'm going to bring in some Aged Mahogany Distress ink and go ahead and just add a little bit of shading at the bottom of the letters. Then I'm going to start adding all my pieces to my card front to create the layout for my magazine cover. I'm going to use the Miss You at the top for the title and then add in my image. Next, I'm going to use the same red cardstock I used for the letters to create a strip to add an additional sentiment at the bottom. Then I'm going to add a bunch of the other sentiments from the set across the front as well. For the sentiment I'm adding to the strip, I want to emphasize the word quibbling from the sentiment that reads, "There's no quibbling about it, you're the best." So I'm going to mask off the rest of the sentiment so that I can heat emboss the word quibbling with some white detail embossing powder. Then I'll mask off the word quibbling to stamp out the rest of the phrase using some black VersaFine Clear ink. Next, I have all my elements pretty much together, so I can go ahead and start finishing up with the card front. And so I'm going to add the glasses image to my colored girl image. Next up, I added my card panel back into my MISTI so that I could stamp out each of the additional sentiments in black and red VersaFine Clear ink. Unfortunately, the rest of the footage showing me finishing up this card did not want to cooperate, so I'm just going to have to cut here to the finished card and explain what I did for the rest. So once I had stamped out the rest of my sentiments, I went in with a micron pen and added some punctuation and quotation marks to some of those sentiments. Then of course I glued everything down, and I did add some more aged mahogany to the edges of my banner at the bottom. And then I used the Magic Stars stencil to add some stars across the front of the card, as well as a white gel pen to add in some dots. And that finishes off my Magical Magazine Miss You card. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!